Good afternoon, sports fans. Welcome to Full Count, Sports Memo's MLB betting coverage show, coming to you live every weekday, Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Guys, we're going to be covering baseball with some of the best handicappers, analysts, columnists, and sports bettors on the planet. We're going to be giving out free picks on several games for today's card and plenty of time for you to get down on those free picks. I'm your host, world champion handicapper, and Las Vegas's biggest daily sports bettor, Joe D'Amico. Now, guys, the weather is starting to heat up here in Vegas. I'm 30 feet. Try that again. See that hooked on phonics books Jesse Schule sent me for Christmas? Didn't arrive yet. I am 30 feet from the nicest backyard in southern Nevada. It's 100 degrees already, 5% humidity. I am dressing for the weather, so I got my beach hat. Of course, I'm repping my set. You know who my set is, guys? The Yankees. It is great weather. The weather is heating up here in Vegas, but so are the cappers over at Sports Memo. And guys, we have an all-star panel for you today. Joining me and giving out today's winners are Mr. Jesse Schule and Mr. Ronald Cabang. Welcome, guys. Great day, midweek, a lot of things going on. You know, the NHL, I know this is a baseball show, the NHL, you know, just when the New York Rangers thought they had in the bag, we could talk about that. Game one, NBA Finals. Golden State gets embarrassed at home. They come back to prove a point in game two. Now they take it on the road. Do a lot of people out there I know, especially in this NBA postseason, are subscribing to the zigzag factor. But, you know, that's a whole other story. We're here to talk baseball today. And I got to tell you, you know, Jesse and Ronald, I'm just going to break out some standings. This isn't my usual shtick when Jesse's on the show about our Yankees Blue Jays bet, but you know, you're looking at teams who got well over 50 games in the books already. We got about a third of the regular season in the books, guys. And I've got to tell you, it seems as though not just the cream is rising to the top, but every division in baseball has one or two teams that are separating themselves from the rest. Mm-hmm. In the AL East, we talked about this the other day, the AL East, the Yankees are playing so good. Toronto's right on their heels. I mean, they're 7 games back, but they're playing great ball. Tampa Bay starting to heat up. You got the Central. You got Minnesota there. They hit somewhat of a schneid on and off, dropping 6 of their last 10. However, Chicago, you know, they know with the All-Star break just around the corner, they need every win they can get. Obviously, the West, I'm still going to sit here and say, I don't care what happens. Houston can phone it in. They'll still be the top team in the West. But LA is making a run. You know, they went, I should say, wait. After LA started making a run, they now dropped 12 in a row. You got the NL East. New York is playing well. You know, for once their hitting is matching their pitching. Atlanta, you know, starting to make a run, won 6 in a row, winning 5 in a row. Philly. You got the Central, Milwaukee and St. Louis. To me, you could take Pittsburgh, Chicago, and Cincinnati, put them all together. You won't field a 500 team. And the West. While the Dodgers are playing, you know, they're playing Dodger baseball. They're doing what we expect of them. They just lost 3 in a row, and I will tell you this. San Diego, just a game and a half back. So the divisions are really starting to take solid shape. It's a great time for us sports handicappers because we're rolling right now, and anybody that follows us over at Sports Memo. So having said that, sports fans, we have 3 roundtable games that both Jesse and Ronald are going to be chiming in on, and then we're going to have our best bet segment where each of us will give out our best bet for the day. So without any further ado, wait, one more announcement, guys. I'm very excited about this. I'm sorry, guys. There's something I want everybody to know about. We always talk about this, Ronald and Jesse. I don't even know if you guys are aware of it, but sports fans, the customer appreciation that you receive from Sports Memo is unrivaled in this business. They've got a new promo. It's today, just today. They're calling it Spin to Win Wednesday. All right, promotion for today is Sports Memo. Spin to win huge savings on your next purchase. No purchase necessary to spin. I want you to know, all you do is go over to Sports Memo. There's a wheel. Just hit the button. And discounts like 30 days for MLB, $99. $100 off a 30-day pass. $20 off a 3-day pass. $4.99 for any MLB season of any capper you want. 33% off anything on your cart or your entire cart. And 50% off your daily play. I've got to tell you, go over to Sports Memo. Spin to win. You can't beat it. So having said that, without any further ado, we have 3 roundtable games. Our first roundtable game, sports fans, Mariners at Astros, currently used to $1.40. Total 8.5 flat. Let's go to the body himself, Jesse Schule, as informative as he is entertaining. Jesse, what's your take on Seattle, Houston, please?
Well, Joe, these two teams split the first two games of this series in Houston, and the home team will be a favorite in the rubber match, and that's because they would be a bigger favorite, but the pitching matchup seems to favor Seattle here. You got Logan Gilbert, 5-2, 2.2 ERA against Jose Urquidy, who's 5-2 with a 4.76 ERA. The difference being Gilbert's been better of late. Gilbert has won back-to-back starts, allowing just 2 earned runs and fanning 12 in those 2 wins. And the opposite can be said for Urquidy, who allowed 9 runs on 17 hits in 10 and 2/3 innings pitched in his last 2 starts. And one of those was against the Mariners. He gave up 6 runs on a dozen hits in a loss at Seattle, not in his last start, but just prior to that. The Mariners, I like this Seattle team, and I think they've underachieved so far. I think they're going to pick up some steam, start playing better ball here. They have covered the run line in 4 of their last 5 head-to-head against Houston. I do like Seattle as a run line dog here.
Sports fans, the body himself, Jesse Schule, says the Mariners as a run line dog. Jesse, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of talent on this Seattle team, and at times they look brilliant. At times they look downright ugly, but there is a lot of talent. They seem to be stringing together better performances, and once again, they're in a dogfight right now with both LA and Texas. They really are. As I mentioned earlier, I think Houston is really the cream of the crop there, but there's no reason why they can't string together more wins. Good breakdown, good analysis. Sports fans, Jesse Schule all over the Sports Memo leaderboards. Go over to Sports Memo right after the show. Take a chance at that spin to win and try Jesse Schule out. Trust me, he will make you a ton of money. Let's go to Mr. Ronald Cabang. Ronald, you're all over the Sports Memo leaderboards as usual. I know you do very well over the last few years in NBA. I know that you were on a killer run for a bit in WNBA. And I know this is a baseball show, but you're doing very well in MLB as well. So we'd love to get your take. Seattle, Houston, $1.40, 8.5. Ronald, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jesse touched on a lot of great points here. The Mariners have the pitching advantage against Urquidy, Gilbert versus Urquidy. Astros are 7-3 when Urquidy is on the mound, but I think it's a little bit deceiving. His ERA is around 4.7. The wins are really due to the run support that he gets when he's on the mound. And I'm not sure he's going to be able to get the run support that he needs here against Gilbert. Gilbert is a stud. I expect him to go into the 6th inning at the very least today. He goes pretty deep in games just because Mariners also want to take advantage of his youth here and his endurance and kind of rest the bullpen as they need to. Solid ERA, I think Jesse touched on that too, 2.2 ERA, a FIP just over 3, so not too far off. I think we can see both teams struggling here to put up runs, in my opinion. I know Urquidy hasn't looked great recently, but the bats of Seattle have been struggling recently as well. So if I were to bet something in this game, it would be the first 5 under 4.5, and you can get it at -120. So that's one way that I would probably look at this game here.
So sports fans, Ronald Cabang, the first 5 under 4.5, F5 under. Good breakdown, Ronald. And by the way, that's what we expect of you. You set a bar for yourself, and you just reach that bar every time. Great breakdown. Sports fans, Jesse Schule, Mariners run line, Ronald Cabang under first 5 on the Mariners Astros. Guys, don't go anywhere. We've got 2 more roundtable games, and we've got a best bet segment. So let's go to our second of 3 round. I'm all over the board today, guys. I got to stop drinking vodka with the lemonade. I'm just kidding. No vodka, just lemonade. Guys, I'm all over the board today. Our second of 3 round table games. Interesting matchup, guys, as we go to interleague play. St. Louis Cardinals at the Tampa Bay Rays. Currently, Tampa Bay $1.40, 7.5 over, -$1.15. Jesse Schule, can you please give us your take?
All right, Joe. So the Cardinals are just a half a game out at first in the Central, creeping up on those Brewers there. And they kind of look interesting here tonight as an underdog on the road. St. Louis's road record, 15-13. Tampa's home record, 19-13. I mean, Tampa's got a bit of a better home record, but not that significant. Both teams with 32 wins overall. You got Corey Kluber going for Tampa. He used to be a big name pitcher, an ace or a stud, but he doesn't look so much that way these days. 49 hits and 46 strikeouts in 50 innings pitched. That's not that impressive. And Pack Naughton for the Cardinals, not a very familiar name. He's 0-1 with a 3.09 ERA, only 11.2 innings pitched, 12 strikeouts, and 12 hits. So the hits and the strikeouts per innings pitched is extremely similar here. Both of these pitchers are averaging roughly a hit and a strikeout per inning pitched, or close to. So that, not that much of an advantage for the home team, which is the favorite. And if you look at the hitting, the Rays, 23rd in the majors in runs scored, 25th in team batting average. You look at St. Louis, 4th in runs scored and 5th in team batting average. And when you draw up the comparison and how they match up, even in a lot of categories, those superior bats might be enough to convince me to play on the underdog here.
Jesse Schule says, take the dog with the Cards. Jesse, let me ask you a question here. I know I have people both on the handicapping end and the sports betting end here in Vegas refuse to touch interleague play. Is interleague play something you wince at, or something you really maybe are apprehensive to playing, because to betting or putting out there, because these are teams that don't normally play each other and not familiar with one another? Do you change the way you look at a game when it's an interleague matchup?
I might be less inclined to play interleague matchups because there's going to be less data available. So you're not going to be able to draw on as many data points. The fact that these teams don't face each other as often as division rivals would. But if I find the angle I'm looking for, it doesn't matter to me if it's interleague or divisional or whatever.
Jesse Schule walking it like he talking. Gotta love that. My good friend Ronald Cabang, who always a great technical analyst. I'm interested to see what you have. St. Louis, Tampa Bay, currently 147.5 over -115. Mr. Cabang, take it away.
Yeah, I think Jesse touched on the pitching matchup here. Packy Naughton here, he kind of serves as an opener. He doesn't go too deep into the games versus Corey Kluber, who like Jesse mentioned, he's been a household name for a bit, but he's kind of been falling off in recent seasons. He doesn't pitch well in evening games here. Rays are 1-3 in the evening games, which Kluber starts. Cardinals are coming off a loss, and they typically do well in those situations coming off of a loss. 15-8 straight up off of a loss, including 8-2 if they are on the road coming off of a loss. So the Cardinals, to me, I expect the Cardinals to do some damage here. They've been doing some damage on the road against starting righties. I think this is a spot where the Cardinals just kind of bounce back. Their bats kind of bounce back here. We say that a lot in basketball, but in baseball, it's something where the bats can start to heat up in a specific spot. And to me, if you can get the Cardinals here, first 5 at plus money, I think that's a very solid look here. I mean, plus 115, you have a chance to either, we want to go for the win, but sometimes, if it's a push there, I mean, you can't knock it. I think it's a good spot here. You can get plus 115, first 5 on the Cardinals. That probably would be the way that I would look here.
Cardinals first 5 for Mr. Ronald Cabang, who's all over the SportsMemo leaderboards. Ron, let me pose a question to you. Back in the day, because I'm old, it's not just that I look good for my age. I'm an old man here. Back in the day, and I put a lot of stock when I handicap baseball at starting pitchers. There are several teams and several coaches out there that do what we call bullpen games. They put a pitcher for an inning. Does that change the way you handicap a game, or do you step away from a game when you know that you can't predict at least the first few innings of a game because of the starting pitcher? Tell me about your take on that.
Yeah, I think the openers, they kind of switched the game up here a little bit, and for me, I haven't adjusted to capping those games specifically. I think it's just so hard because you never know who's going to come after, right? Like you don't know if the opener is going to go 1 inning or 2.5 or whatever it might be, and then after that, you have to adjust to see, all right, what situation from the bullpen are they going to come out with, a righty or a lefty? Who's going to be coming out in those specific situations, regardless, like depending on the score, right? So there's a lot of things here when you don't know how, you can't expect how deep a pitcher is going to go. You don't know who's going to come out afterwards. Those are really big questionable things that you can't really predict as far as capping wise. So that's the reason why, for me, I typically stay away from openers. But if there's a clear situation where you kind of see one of the relievers who are, their top names coming out of the bullpen, if you see them pitching right the day before and it's excessive innings for something that he doesn't typically pitch, right? If he's only typically a 3-out pitcher, or if he went 6 outs the night before, you could probably expect him not to come back the next day. So there's little ways to do that, but with so many games every day, there's spots where you could just say, this is something I'm not comfortable doing. Push that to the side and focus on the games that you have a good advantage of.
Great advice, Ronald. Thank you. I'm sure our viewers out there are appreciative of that. It's funny you mentioned the games are changing because they have bullpen game now. You look at NBA, you look at NFL. NBA, there's so much of it is about the 3-point. I remember back in the day, a guy couldn't throw up a 3-point unless 2 guys were under. Now a guy could just go on a fast break and just throw it up. Same thing with the NFL. For quite a few years, since the NFL started, it was always running the ball, passing off the run, and then stopping the run. This way you can control the clock. And then a few years back, we saw teams like the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, reach success by just throwing the ball. But then defenses adapted. They've realized, you got to get the pressure on him. He forces mistakes, and things change. So it's funny how the major sports have changed quite a bit over the last 2 years. But I will tell you, I'm an old school guy. I stick to the basics. If a football team can run the ball and stop the run, if a basketball team can play good defense and force turnovers, and if a baseball team has a good starter, a good closer, and some consistent hitting, that's what I look for. Great stuff from Ronald Cabang. Guys, don't go anywhere. We have a third of 3 roundtable games and our best bet segment. And our third roundtable game, to me, is a very interesting matchup. You got a team in first place against a team that's just a game and a half out of first place. New York Mets, San Diego Padres. San Diego currently 135, a total of 7 flat. Jesse Schule, your take on this game, please.
Well, Joe, you said it. This is an interesting matchup, and I've got some interesting stats to run by you. Of course, these teams split the first 2 games in San Diego, and the pitching matchup today, the statistics might interest you. We got Sean Manaea and Chris Bassett going, and I was trying to write down their stats to compare them. And if you look at my notes, there's a ton of scribbling there because the stats are so similar that I was mixing up who was who. But I'll give it a go here. Manaea has a 3.77 ERA and a 1.1 whip in 62 innings pitched. And Bassett has a 3.74 ERA with a 1.17 whip in 65 innings pitched. Both have 68 strikeouts and 21 walks. So statistically, based on those metrics, it's like they're rolling out the same pitcher. The Mets have 19 road wins. The Padres have 14 home wins. The Mets have won 5 of the last 7 head-to-head, with the Padres being the favorite. All these similarities and the superior road record and the better head-to-head record in recent meetings would sort of make you lean toward the Mets. But with Pete Alonso getting hit by a pitch last night, he's listed as day-to-day. I guess we'll find out a little sooner to game time if he's able to play tonight. If he's able to play, I'd feel comfortable recommending the Mets as the underdog. If he's out, I'd probably suggest passing.
Okay, sports fans. By the way, Jesse Schule, listening to your analysis, another great analysis. You have something every time you break down a game for any type of bettor out there. If people like the technical aspect, the trends of the streaks, or the streetwise type of angle, I know there's something always in your analysis that's tailor-made for a wide array of bettors. Great breakdown. Thank you, Jesse. Ronald Cabang, I really do. For me as a baseball fan, this is a game that I would definitely like. I don't watch a lot of games, guys. I really don't. For me, once I'm done with my workday, because my workday starts at 2 a.m., I am done for the day. I don't watch a ton of games. I know a lot of people out there, they'll have a room. As a matter of fact, the room that I'm sitting in used to have like a 70-inch flat screen surrounded by 3 flat screens on either side and 2 underneath it. So, yes, I had 9 televisions in this darn room. I got rid of it, got one little Samsung, small, hangs off the wall on a tilt. That's it. I don't watch a lot of games. But to me, I might sit back with a cold beer tonight and watch this game. Jesse, a lot of great points. These 2 teams are very good teams. A lot of their stats are very similar. For me as a sports fan and as a sports bettor, because we don't know if these 2 teams might be facing each other down the road in the postseason, might get a leg up on it right now watching it. This is a great game. To me, this is like the marquee game on the board. Ronald Cabang, can you please give us your take? Mets, Padres, please.
Yeah, I mean, again, Jesse touched on some good points here and how similar the numbers and the stats are for between Bassett and Manea. But I think that the difference here is the consistency between the two pitchers. Bassett, Manea, he's been really consistent and actually has been pitching well, especially specifically in the evening games. Even though the Padres are 4-3 in evening games when he starts, his ERA is around 3 in those games, just under. And versus just under 6 in day games. So there's a little bit of a difference there in how he pitches depending on the period. Bassett, I believe, is starting to regress a little bit. So this is where the consistency that I'm talking about comes into play. His ERA I believe, is going to continue to go up because he's been giving up home runs too consistently in the last 4 starts, 7 total home runs given up. And that's not something that you want to do here. I know the Padres don't do exceptionally well with the home run ball, but I think this is a spot here where you can kind of see yesterday the momentum that the teams are going to be going kind of in a different direction here. Last few games, the Mets have been hitting lefties exceptionally well, but I think that's going to start to regress. You can't hit 300 against lefties through a whole regular season, and that's something that they're doing right now. So to me, I think there's a point where a team kind of peaks. Versus in specific situations, I think this is a spot where we see the Mets struggle bat-wise against lefties. And, with the regression going one way for the Mets and the Padres going the other way, I think this is a spot here that we would take the Padres. I believe they're a favorite for a reason. And to me, the Padres take care of business tonight.
Sports fans, we have our first contradiction, so to speak. Jesse, if you had to play the game, depending on a player or so, we'll go Mets. Ronald Cabang says emphatically, Padres love it. And guys, that's why the cappers over at SportsMemo are the best on the planet, because they're not a cookie cutout of each one another. You're going to get different angles, and everybody makes a great point. Jesse makes some great points. Ronald makes some great points. That's why we are the best website on the planet. Sports fans, don't go anywhere. It's our best bet segment. I am very excited to see what Jesse and Ronald has as best bet, and I'm giving out a big-time best bet myself. So without any further ado, we're going to go to Jesse Schule, who's going to tell you what he's got going on, maybe on the premium side tonight, maybe what he's excited about the next few days over at SportsMemo on the premium side, and he's got a big best bet for you. Jesse Schule, the floor is yours.
Joe, a 3-0 sweep with yesterday's plays. Really looking forward to a 4-star play on Game 3 in the NBA Finals tonight, and moving forward, continuing to put out plays on the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. But as far as best bets, I'm not a Yankees fan. I'm a Blue Jays fan, but you got to give credit when credit is due, and the Yankees are the best team in baseball. They come into this game in Minnesota with a 7-game win streak. And the Twins have lost 5 of their last 7 overall. You got Nestor Cortez. Not only is he pitching for the best team in baseball, he leads the major leagues in ERA with a 1.50 ERA. Now, the price is hefty. Minus 185 is going rate. I think you can shop around, probably get down to minus 170 without too much trouble. But the price that I would put on this game is well over 2-1. I think around minus 230 should be the correct price for this game. And I base that on the fact that the Yankees are 8-2 in Cortez's 10 starts. So that's an 80% win percentage. The Yankees on the season, 40-15. That's a 73% win percentage. And you got Chris Archer going for Minnesota. That's the back end of their rotation. He's their 5th starter. The Twins are banged up. They've got injury concerns to star players. Correa's out, as well as their first baseman is out, and a bunch of utility players are also injured. This looks like a good spot to take advantage of what I think is a high price, but a more than a fair price for the Yankees.
Sports fans, Jesse Schule coming over to the dark side like Joe D. He's taking the Yankees tonight. Guys, this is an ideal time for you to take advantage of these great discounts that SportsMemo is offering after the show. Go over to SportsMemo. Spin to win on that discount that they're doing today and today only. It's Wednesdays. I don't know if it's going to be every Wednesday. I know it's today. Spin to win. Take advantage of it. Follow Jesse Schule, and you'll follow him all the way to the bank. Let's go over to Ronald Cabang, who Guys, he breaks the game down as good or better than anybody I've ever seen in this business. I've been doing this 30-some-odd years here in Vegas. Ronald Cabang, tell us what you got going on the premium side, and tell us your free play for the Full Count Show, please.
Yeah, from a premium side, I'm gonna have 2 plays here in the NBA. Actually 3 plays in the NBA tonight. And then WNBA, I'm probably gonna have just one of them. And then I might touch on a few of the night games here, specifically this one that it's gonna be my best bet. And it's gonna be the Padres here. Like I mentioned earlier, I think there's gonna be some regression from both the pitching and the bats of the Mets here. So to me, I think this is a spot where the favorite here, the Padres are well deserved to get the line that they have. To me, Padres money line is the way to go.
Sports fans, Ronald Cabang says Padres money line. Ronald, so for those of you out there that love you and adore you, they go to the website. I want to tell everybody, Ronald, sometimes he puts plays up a little early, but for the most part, a lot of your plays go up a little bit later on in the day, correct?
Yeah, they usually come around 12:30, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. To me, I think I want to make as much, some things like the Boston game, Boston and the Warriors game. I put up last night because I knew exactly what we got that extra time here. I kind of knew exactly what I wanted to plan. WNBA, there's a lot of things like how the NBA rolled this season where information comes late. COVID, injuries, things like that. So I want to wait on that. And then on the MLB side too, I also like to look at the lineups, right? It's not just the pitching. You also want to see the lineups here. And to me, those are key information that I want to make sure that I have in front of me before I place a bet on my own. And I don't want to post anything either until I have my money on it. And that's the reason why I wait until this time.
Sports fans, I wanted everyone out there to know about how Ronald is because I know so many of you love Ronald. We all love Ronald. Those of you who go to Sports Memo and want his plays, if you go up there early and you don't see something yet, be patient. He puts his plays up for those reasons that you just heard him tell you about a little bit later on in the day. Great stuff, Ronald. Guys, Jesse and Ronald will be coming back in a minute. I'd like to toot my own horn, and here in Vegas, you got to pay extra for that. My friends, I have a 5% play alert as the number one capper the last 30 days in NBA at Sports Memo. Me, fresh off a 10% Game of the Year winner in Game 2 of the Finals on Sunday. Guys, I just keep getting you paid in the NBA postseason. As a matter of fact, I'm on a 6-1 overall run in the NBA playoffs, and this does include a 5-1 record with my 10% and 5% releases. Tonight, for Game 3, I continue to bust the books with another big game winner in my 5% Las Vegas Strip Move Game of the Year. When all of my Las Vegas odds-making, sportsbook, and sports betting sources come in with the same team as my analyst and myself, it becomes a Las Vegas Strip Move play. I got my LVSM Game of the Year, so follow the best big game hunter on the planet. Get on my hot streak, and let's strike it rich tonight. The best part of this release tonight, this big Game of the Year winner, is it's part of my $2 Tuesday play. So you go over to Sports Memo right after the show. It's there for $2. Now, guys, I am very excited about my free play today. I gave out a free MLB winner earlier today on the First Family Show, but I wanted to have something exclusive to our full count viewers. So let's go to Interleague play for another free winner as the Dodgers travel halfway across the country to guaranteed rate field to take on the White Sox. My friends, baseball is all about the streaks, and right now, these two teams are streaking in opposite directions. Los Angeles has dropped 3 in a row, while Chicago has won their last 3. Guys, LA has lost 3 in a row 3 times this season. What should be a concern for them is that they've dropped 3 in a row now for the second time in about a week. The White Sox took Game 1 of the series yesterday, blanking the Dodgers 4-0. LA currently owns the number 1 ranked scoring offense in baseball and the number 2 ranked pitching staff, but just over the last 7 games, they've been outscored 38-24. Like I said, they should be concerned. With the All-Star break just around the corner, the AL Central second-place Chicago team knows they need every win they can get right now. They're only 4 games back of the Twins at the moment. I know. Let me repeat that. I know Tony Gonsolin is getting the start today. We all know he's 6-0 with a 1.59, and he's pretty good at interleague play as well. But the White Sox counter with Johnny Cueto, who started off the season outstanding. His last few outings, less than stellar, but he is no stranger to facing the Dodgers. Over his career, and 24 starts against them, 9-9 record, 3.76 ERA. That really impressed me. And guess what, guys? Struck out 122 and 133 innings pitched. He's also had success in interleague play. 19-8 record with a 2.80 ERA and 40 interleague starts. I just feel taking Chicago here at this much of an underdog offers us great value. LA seems to be hitting a little bit of a slump right now, and getting Chicago plus $1.70 is the smart way to go, especially because they're 14-2 the last 16 interleague games. Take the White Sox as a doggy here and take a woof bite out of your bookmaker, my friends. I'm very excited right now, guys. I really am, because the MLB show is starting to really, really catch traction. And that's because of the great cappers you see before you, and because of you, all the viewers. My friends, we are very excited about the summer here. We're not just sitting here going, all right, that's it. All right, NBA is done. NHL is done. This is the time of year, guys, where you can really replenish your bank. I'm sorry, my dogs ran past my desk. I knocked all my papers off my desk. This is the time of year, guys, where you can really take advantage of the great information, the great cappers over at Sports Memo. I want you to know, guys, I know a lot of you think, well, it's the summer. It's time to go relax with the family, go by the beach, go take a vacation. But this is a time of year where you can really build up your bankroll by following people like Jesse, Ronald, myself, the other great cappers over at Sports Memo. Before we go anywhere and I close out this show, guys, let's see, Jesse, Schule, any closing thoughts or comments for our viewers?
Well, you mentioned that we're going to be here for MLB this summer, but let's not forget about what I call the poor man's pigskin, and that's the CFL. You're looking at a 3-time world champ. I've been extremely successful with CFL, and then no problem cashing in on the poor man's pigskin for me.
Ronald Cabang, closing thoughts or comments?
Yeah, no, I'm just excited for the summer to happen here. I know the NBA is closing out. We got WNBA, MLB is going to be the primary spot for everyone to make money and get into the football season next year. So the next season. So really excited for what's to come here in the future, especially with everyone at Sports Memo being so successful at what they do. I'm just excited to be a part of the team.
We love having you. One big question that we got from our viewers for both Jesse and Ronald. We're going to go to Jesse first. What's a better song, Jesse's Girl or Shebang? Just kidding, guys. I couldn't help myself. As you guys know,
we all know the answer.
Every time we do a lot of shows with Jesse, and I sing Jesse's Girl all the time. And Ronald Cabang, I would say Shebang. Just having some fun. By the way, why don't you guys vote? Jesse's Girl or Shebang? And the losing capper has to do the next MLB show in a Speedo. That's all I'm saying. My friends, we want to thank you for tuning in. Be sure to tune in every weekday, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Full Count, Sports Memo's MLB betting coverage show. Coming to you live with special guests every day. Tomorrow, my good buddy John Ryan, he's going to be hosting. Jesse Schule will be back with Eric Pauly. They're going to be stopping by. Don't forget to take advantage of that Spin to Win Wednesday discount right after the show. This is Joe D'Amico on behalf of Sports Memo. Jesse Schule, Ronald Cabang, good luck and have a winning day.